What's up, everyone? I am Deanna Reese Williams, and I'm on a journey of talking about my goal setting. And basically, I want to check in with you guys. So, today's video, I want to do a goal check in and just say where I'm at in the process and how have I been keeping track. So, let's go ahead and get started. So, I want to reflect on the month of January. I also want to let you know how I was keeping track of my progress and what were some productivity and mindset shifts that I needed to make to basically be more productive, but also what's honestly working for me. So, one of the first things that I always like to share with people is that I do have a digital calendar and I also have written calendars. I have three calendars that I manage. I have my PsyD calendar as a doctoral student, also have my entrepreneurial calendar as a solo entrepreneur, and then I also have I would say my work calendar, my main gig of what I do as a faculty at a community college. So yes, I do have three calendars. Don't be overwhelmed. I use Google Calendar. It works well. And then I also have a handwritten calendar. You're probably wondering why I have a handwritten calendar. So one of the things that I learned is although I have all these things that are digital, what makes it more concrete is that when I have things written down. So what I do is every week I sit down with my calendar and I do have a work calendar that is handwritten. And then I have a calendar that is combined with my solo entrepreneur efforts along with my challenge. You guys know I'm on a 45-day challenge along with my PsyD process. So this is that calendar. And what I find is that I prefer to put the amount of time that it takes to do a task or whatever it is that I'm trying to accomplish. And so I will write this out every single week with the intent of being able to check back and follow up and see where I'm at with those particular items for the day. So what goals did I set and where am I at now? So my goals overall globally, which you guys may have remembered, I created this tool for myself, and actually it wasn't just for myself, it was for other people, but I never sold any of them. That's another story for another day. But anyways, I'm in the process of revamping my goal development plan, and I thought, how can I revamp it if I don't work myself through the actual GDP, as I like to call it? So this is my goal development plan, and I went on ahead. I'm in step 4. I shared with you guys a couple of videos ago my vision board, which is right here, and I'll insert like a visual as well. And so I have just overall global goals of what I'm trying to accomplish. And so one big goal, like one major goal, is to complete my PsyD by March 15th of 2025. I will work on my PsyD daily for at least 30 minutes. If you're not sure what a PsyD is, it is a doctorate of psychology. I'm a student. I've been in this process or back in the process since September of 2020. So I'm working on 4.5 years of working through my doctorate. Also, I will move my body daily for a minimum of 20 minutes. This honestly aligns with my 45-day challenge. If you haven't been following that process, you can check it out daily. I go live just to give you guys an update on what I'm doing and how I'm doing with that particular process. Also, I will assess my goals every week. Like, I need to look at the goals. Having the vision board is great, but you need to really have a place where you can look at those goals every week. And I do write those on my calendars as well. Something else that I have for my solo entrepreneurial space, and these are big goals, big goals. So I will publish my third children's book by fall of 2025, specifically in November. I will relaunch my podcast in summer 2025 by recording one weekly episode. Basically in July, I want to be publishing the podcast. I will launch my travel YouTube channel by spring of 2025 by recording one weekly video. Spring would be like April, May timeframe. And then I do still have some other solo entrepreneurial goals. And again, these are not all happening at one time. They're all happening at different times and how I can plan them out. We'll get into task here shortly. I will complete a bookkeeping course by April of 2025 by working on the course at least 3 hours a week or 3 days a week. You're probably wondering why. So I decided to do a bookkeeping course because I do manage 2 businesses and will probably be managing 3 in the coming months or by the end of this year. And so I want to just strengthen my bookkeeping skills altogether. I will identify a coaching course by fall of 2025, which would be November, which would be the 4th quarter of the year. I want to identify this course because I want to be able to put a coaching program to align with the actual goal development plan of itself. And then I will relaunch this entire book. I'm going to relaunch it hopefully by January 2026. That's just a big goal of mine. I'm not going to get into like my work goals, but I do have them, and that takes up a good 40 hours of my life. But these are the ones that I typically talk about with you guys, or the content that I typically cover. Me being a solo entrepreneur, being a PsyD student, and every now and again, I might chime in about some work stuff. So now that you know what my goals are, now you need to know where I'm at in the process. So basically with my PsyD, I have completed chapters 1 through 3. They're in the process of being reviewed as we speak. So I'm actively working on my preliminary oral defense presentation, which I work on that every single night. And then I just completed my research summary, which is something that I'll be submitting to the IRB, which is the Institute Review Board. All universities have this, and so my university has one as well. So I will have to submit the IRB to get approval to basically say I can go ahead and do chapter 4. And then next, what else I'm working on is that I am moving every day. I've been working out 20 minutes a day. I want to get back into CrossFit, and I feel like I need to have a micro goal of like, I will go to CrossFit one day out of the week. Just one day. I need to go. I am paying for an annual membership, so it's one of those things that I can't go month to month simply because I'm locked in until for the next 6 months. So we need to get it together. So that's where I'm at with my fitness goals. As far as my solo entrepreneurial goals, so basically what I realized is after writing out my plan, which I took a moment to do this, in the month of January, I really focused on the vision board. But then it was like, I need to activate the plan. I need to actually map out every single goal. So once I have the goal, this will initiate what task I need to focus on for each of the goals. Because there's no point of having a goal if you can't have tasks. Otherwise, you're not really going to achieve it. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome to the channel. Again, my name is Deanna Reese Williams. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. But if you haven't figured out, I'm a very goal-oriented person. And one of the challenges I'm having in my own product is that I don't typically follow every single step. I just naturally do these things. But because I naturally do it and I'm always kind of working at warp speed, what really helps me and really what grounds me is for me to write things down, and it'll force me to slow down to make sure that I'm actually achieving the goal. Because what happens is when I review the goals and I'm like, what happened? Why didn't I make it to CrossFit this week? What's going on? Well, then once I look at, okay, well, your schedule says this, you didn't plug it in, you didn't go to bed at the right time. All of these things play a factor in you actually achieving your goal. So the other thing is I am actively working through the bookkeeping course at least 3 to 4 days out of the week. I typically schedule like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday. I don't always get to it on Sunday because I'm grading students' work and I got stuff going on. You know, I have a life outside of being so goal-oriented. But my other goals that I have is that once I sat down and did the GDP plan, I was able to write my goals out in my calendar to basically say, how am I going to focus on these solo entrepreneur activities? So one of the things that I started doing was I started using Notion. Now, I shouldn't say I started using Notion. I have been using Notion for 3 or 4 years now. Big shout out to my creative partner, Miss Cassandra Ellis. She's amazing. She was the one who actually introduced me to Notion like 3 or 4 years ago at this point. And I realized girl, this is what CP was telling you the whole time. You need to use Notion to manage your projects. So I'm not sponsored. I have no affiliation with Notion, but let me tell you guys, being able to put my projects in Notion, YouTube, podcasts, third book, which she has already generated pages for me to basically build and add on to those spaces. I did add some pages myself, and I was able to say, okay, this is what I want to do. This is where I'm at. And so even today in recording this video, I wouldn't be able to record this video if I didn't have a plan in place. And so actually figuring out a way to organize these projects has been mind-boggling. It's been mind-blowing, let's be real. So once I did that, then I was able to create tasks within Notion, and then I was able to put the task in here. And so I have been actively working on mapping out how am I going to make sure that not just everyone knows about my 45-day challenge, but how am I going to keep track of the goals? People have been watching this series. They want to keep up. Maybe they're working on goals too. So now I have an entire series of like 5 or 6 episodes where you're going to get me talking about my goals, where am I at in the process, and what am I doing moving forward. So I hope that is super helpful to you. What are some obstacles that have slowed me down? For me, what has slowed me down was not using a tool that was going to manage the entire project. That really slowed me down. Also, another big major thing behind the scenes that happened in my life is that my husband and I moved into a new home in the month of January. But to be fair, like, I didn't take off time from work. I still worked on my paper. I still had life, like things that I had to show up and do. And it really kind of derailed my recordings, all of those things. But at this point, I'm back on track. That did slow me down, but I don't think it slowed me down too much. I still had the challenge that I was doing, so I was going live every day. But now I'm like, okay, it's time to tighten up and get things back in order. And so now that I'm on track, I have everything written down and I'm using the systems that work well for me, then I can continue to make some progress. And then what are some adjustments I'm making for the next month? So for the month of February, the adjustments I'm making is that I'm using Notion. I have my notebook. I'm tracking what I'm doing. I'm checking in with myself every day to say, yes, I did work on my PsyD for 45 minutes. I did go for a walk, or I did go on the spin bike for 20 minutes. Or better yet, I went to CrossFit. Or no, I'm not doing the bookkeeping course today because I have to get ready for work the next day. Different things like that. And what's nice is that I'm able to be more specific about, like, I'm focusing on this part of the PowerPoint. I'm focusing on the study approach, so I can be more specific to the task of what I need to get done versus being all over the place. So, like I said, a couple of things to keep in mind. Figure out a system that works for you. For me, I have Google Calendar. I have handwritten calendars to manage everything, to make things more concrete. I have my vision board that I use that I'm able to look at digitally. I have it on my phone, but I also took a moment and I printed it out. So then visually in my office, I have something that's tangible that I can look at and say, yes, I do want to graduate. Yes, I want to kick off my nature-based program again, or I want to relaunch that podcast. All of these things are visually there so I can actually see it. It makes the goals more tangible. Just a constant reminder. I know you guys don't have access to the goal development plan, but you need to at least write down the goals. At least write them down. Write them as SMART goals. If you're not sure what a SMART goal is, I did share that in another video, but take a moment and write those SMART goals, and that will help you streamline your process. Another thing you want to do is you want to not just have your calendar, write down your goals, your vision, but now you need to write tasks. And you need a system that's going to allow you to write down the task and then follow back up. And then from there, what system are you going to use to manage all of your projects? If you're like me, someone who's high productive, high goal oriented, you need a system that is going to help keep your projects organized so you're less stressed out. I'm telling you, it's the only way to go. I hope this video was helpful to you. Thank you for joining me, and look out for another video next week where I'm going to be talking about, again, not just my goals, but how I'm moving along as a full-time employee, but also being a doctoral student, managing businesses. All right, catch you guys on the next video. Have a great day, have a great night, and have a good morning. Take care. Bye.